We'll do a little bit of a trade review here. I was talking about FFIE quite a bit over the last week, and then we will do some watches going into next week. But this is A++ daily chart pattern right here. This thing's going from 3 cents to $4. It's absolutely ridiculous, unsustainable price action. I was trying it short, tried some short on this day, day 2 gap up, covered for about a 2 cent loss. I tried this one short here on this day, gapping into previous day's range, and made about 5 to 10 cents gain on that one. And then I avoided that the rest of the day, and then the whole plan came to fruition here. So we'll go through a bit of a trade recap there. Just a monster opportunity, and it came right into this 4 EMA that I always talk about for a potential cover target. I had my trades here on this one, some losses here in the morning pre-market, but cutting losses quickly over the morning range and let it do its thing. And once this hard crack lower high was set in versus prior support now becoming resistance, then I could lean on this with risk on prior highs. The only critique I had on myself was this 250 bounce under morning support. This should have been an add spot, and that was a missed opportunity to add and move risk down. But covers right on point into panic, and then a high positive EV opportunity here on the bouncing ball that Lance talks about, right through green to red, right through prior lows, and a nice high odds setup there. I actually got more size right here than I did up here, just because tighter risk and the expected value I see is a lot higher with the red move. So I'll show here, maybe the 5-minute will show it better. You can see you've like the last couple times, like this morning pull and double bottom here, and once the morning weakness is supported, it trends higher the rest of the day, holds VWAP, and then this day does the same kind of thing where you get a morning push, pulls, and it holds VWAP the rest of the day. You get a huge squeeze out. So these are I was in the beginning as well, and I've gotten a couple of questions in the lounge of like, what are you looking for on first red days? And they like first red day is put in like this big basket, but the pattern the first red day is what I'm looking for, but it's different on each setup because you're playing with the personality of the stock at hand. So sometimes I'm looking for a green to red trigger. Some days I'm looking for an opening range breakdown, but I don't know what the trigger is until I see the stock's price action and how this one acts in particular. And what does this one do? The morning weakness is supported and it squeezes out and trends the rest of the day. Morning weakness squeezes out, trends the rest of the day. You got a bit of a parabolic here. Each day it's gapping up huge. And then this day here, they put a filing out on a delinquent 10Q, saying that they're unable to file it. And then let me see here, dilution tracker, they put out this saying they're not able to use it because of the delinquent. They're not able to use their ATM and dilution and stuff. So that's seen as a positive for longs. Now, longs are rewarded this whole way up of buy all weakness and this thing's going higher. And now you get these positive press releases coming into this day. I see that as almost so bullish that it's bearish, where I don't think there's going to be any longs left because now everybody's going to be piling into this. Oh my gosh, no more dilution. This thing's going to the moon. And that's the mentality I see longs going into on this day. So I did try it off the open, and I cut it off a few times. We'll go here, all in here. We got this morning pull, push. It held pre-market resistance, and I was leaning into this thinking maybe lower high and this thing trickles off. And it didn't, so I covered right through here. And now my plan was to see pre-market highs and morning weakness actually stay heavy. And when it doesn't happen, it's okay to be wrong, just don't stay wrong. And I cut my loss and set some price alerts and move on. Now this thing, every time I cut it, my mentality is this opportunity is just better and better. This thing's up from 3 cents. I was shorting it at 50 cents. I was shorting this at 90 cents. I was shorting this at $3. Each time it's higher and higher and higher. And now what changed? Not one day into the afternoon or midday did this thing break VWAP and break its trend. It was all higher lows. Right here, you get a hard crack, lower high, sub VWAP crack, lower high to prior support, and VWAP starts to stay heavy right here. That was my indication to put that short sell on. And now red was 165, which is, we'll throw a line on here, 160s, right around there. So this thing breaks red. Now, that was a very fast move, so I'm covering into red. This thing was up at almost $4 and now went all the way to 150. That's a huge move, and now I'm expecting pops to stay heavy, but I'm not going to assume pops are staying heavy. So now you get this hard crack red, lower high, tighter range consolidation, and then this little bounce right here, that last hurrah kind of bouncing ball. This is when I started putting shares on to lean into now low a day, green. Now low a day, higher lows. It's breaking down and green red. I'm anticipating a 4 EMA test, which was right around $1, and then that's where my covers were into this sped up $1 move. So super high odds A+ setup for me, and I'm happy the way I executed it. And then CRKN was another one right here around 1 o'clock. If we go, let me see here, 1 o'clock was right in here. Once this thing is now sub VWAP and starting to fail, and CRKN, I can pull up the daily chart here. One sec, CRKN. So this was a sympathy play to FFIE. Everyone was chasing these cheapy names. And this thing was up again from this 3 to 4 cent range. This one was up to 60 cents. So I wasn't interested in this parabolic move because again, FFIE went to $4. I don't know how high this thing's gonna go. But we get the exact same setup where we get low of day lining up to these prior bounce levels, pre-market support. And once it breaks, this is where my price alert hits and this thing snaps. And now I'm looking all pops versus 36. And it was absolutely beautiful. This, where is this thing? There we go. Absolutely beautiful, the retest of 36. So this bounce all right here was where I'm putting my shares on. Got some decent size into that pop all through there, scaling into the winner. And then I'm covering right into this 4 EMA target that I like to use. We got this 22 move, and then right down here into 15 cents lines up with the 4 EMA. And prior support right here. Green, red, prior support, 4 EMA, confluence of multiple criteria for me for covers. So that was a nice cover move there. So just a little review here, how I play sympathies, looking for the head of the snake to fail, but also looking for technicals on this name to line up. And then FFIE, super nice high odds opportunity. So basically on these, CRKN is not as extended because it was up from 5 cents and it's already down to 17 or so. But if I get a gap up into 25, 30, somewhere around there, anything over 20, I think I could re-lean for another pullback. And then FFIE being up from 4 cents. Although I do usually use the 4 EMA as extension, I still have that sort of bias that this name is a POS, and I still think that this thing has room to come down given that it's only at $1. So I will be looking for all pops here towards this 160s, and ideally higher the better. It did kind of bounce back nicely in after hours, so I will be hopeful for a gap up. If this thing gaps down big enough, I would be looking for a first green day bounce for shorts to start to cover now. But my plan right now is pops for lower for failed follow through. JAG-X I had mentioned, it was on watch, but I was waiting for it to build over 30.32, and they alerted a reverse split here in after hours. So 26 broke down and the floodgates opened. So that thing is now off watch. I will actually delete it here. I just wanted to make sure I remembered. OCGN, nice little pullback here. Ideally 190s, 180s continue to hold, and then maybe a range expansion through $2. GME, I believe, alerted a I think there was an ATM. Yes. 45 million shares. Let me pull up the filing here. GME. Right there, 517. May 17th. 45 mil ATM right here through Jeffries. So they took advantage of this move. And that ATM gapped this thing down huge. I did play a bit of it to the long side right here. I don't think I took any screenshots of that trade there. I'd have to look, but it was just such a big gap down, even though it had negative news, $45 million worth. This thing has traded a lot more than $45 million. So yes, it's not good news, but I didn't see it as absolutely terrible news. So I took a loss here when we got this morning pullback and opening range break. I had bought some here through the high a day, and once it immediately failed, I stopped out right here. And then we got this sort of double bottom, and I bought through here, prior highs, and I sold along here. So made that loss back, but it didn't really amount to anything too spectacular. And AMC had this big move, and I was accumulating dips. I bought through this high a day through 450s. I rebought some in here, and I missed this leg. I was selling up into here into the 470s. Wasn't as strong as I expected, but we'll see where we're at. I still think these things could have a bounce in them, but we'll see where those things are at. And FFIE, Kraken, watching for pops. SINT, SLNA, PEGI were all sympathies to this FFIE momentum. These ones, like PEGI, is too cheap for me to short, so I wasn't really watching this one too closely. But the only thing I'd really watch for this is now that volume came back in, this could now be a breakout setup for me if it broke out over this 18 consolidation. So I just set price alerts here if it wanted to deviate from FFIE and actually get its own momentum. SLNA got smoked. I tried this a bit long here through 17s off the open here, or pre-market through there when FFIE was still gapping up and starting to squeeze me out a bit off the open. I thought, okay, well, SLNA's got the nicest breakout chart that I see. So I joined some of this one and I lost about a penny there. And then IPW was just a name that hit my scan because it's a huge multi-day runner. But this thing's up on earnings, so I don't think this is going to be an easy fade here. So I likely won't trade this one to the short side, but just noting because it has huge range. But also showing why FFIE is a positive to me versus IPW. It's not just shorting any multi-day runner. There's nuances to it. What else did we have? We had Duo percent gainer here and just went sideways all day. This is exactly why I avoid day ones for the most part, because it's action like this that I had chopped myself up on over and over again. And the easiest way for me to avoid it was to just not trade them. So obviously you've got this 140s line, and then you've got this $2 line, and any squeeze over $2 was met with pressure, and any pulls towards 140 was met with support. So you'd have to see a break out of one of those directions. So I'm just going to leave this one on a watch just because it's a percent gainer, but no real plan on it for me. So yeah, I hope that FFIE and CRKN Thesis made sense. Those will be watches going into next week. And then GME and AMC, I'm still going to keep an eye on those because I don't really see them as completely dead and falling apart just yet. So yeah, I hope that helps whoever watches. I hope you took some value from that, and I will see you guys in the room next week. Take it easy.